have now reached the intersection where ideas, beliefs, and perspectives collide. So be free to be you. It's the Xrossroadz Podcast with your hosts, author, speaker, and transformational strategist, Barzini, and entrepreneur, empowerment coach, and tech diva, Dre Renee. If you're ready to talk love, business, politics, and everything in between, you're in for a ride. Welcome to the Xrossroadz Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Hunter Grand, your personal agent for change, making life easy, Barzini.
And I'm fempreneur extraordinaire and tech diva all day, Dre Renee.
And this is the Xrossroadz, where there's only one rule.
Be free to be you.
What up, though?
Hey, happy day.
Happy day.
I don't want to give.
We don't want to give away what day. Why did I got that immediately?
Yeah, like,
either that or you were singing this song, "Oh Happy Day."
That too.
I'm gonna learn how to sing one day. I'm just everyone in my family can sing but me.
Can you really learn to sing?
Absolutely.
So, like, you could go from like totally cannot sing to being able to, like, people
singing,
can't carry a note.
Yeah, singing is nothing but muscles. Like,
oh.
Yeah,
I thought if you were born with it, then you just
you can learn to sing. I mean, you ain't gonna be with
you
me.
Can strengthen it, but I didn't know that you could.
Yes, I control. It's like working out, lifting weights. You got to work your vocal cords, which is why it's the same way like someone can lose their voice because they've strained it or overworked it.
Oh,
yeah, it's just exercise, learning how to control the muscles to do different things.
That's good.
Yeah, because my daddy was a vocal coach, and listen, I didn't watch him transform some folk. his first vocal student, this motherfucker came through sound.
Hope they're not listening.
and he ain't. I don't even know where he at. Yeah, I remember, and he taught him how to sing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, let's go on and do that.
Which doesn't stand the reason why I still can't sing, and my daddy is a vocal coach. But
I was like, well, maybe you didn't take those lessons.
But here's two things that I always say. That's like two things God didn't give me to protect women, and that was a beard and the ability to sing.
Women, okay.
And one of them, I don't know. If I can get one, maybe I can get the other.
I'm saying.
My beer game ain't where I want it to be, but I'm working on it.
Okay. And you know what? Yeah. It's progress.
So to all the ladies that I know, cultivate the relationship now, because when the beer game come all the way in, I'm telling you now, I plan on acting funny.
Yeah. No, nobody wants to be wanted after the fact.
I want to be wanted, but I'm gonna be shading you though.
Well, nobody wants to put themselves through that, I'm sure. So speak up now.
Speak up now.
So, I mean, what's been going on?
Man, look, it's so much going on right now. Work is a beast. Oh. And I'm over dating. I'm sick of it.
Yeah. I hope to never experience it again.
Why don't you hold your left hand up while you say that?
No, I wasn't even trying to be.
Oh, I'm just like,
I wasn't doing this.
Specifically online dating. Because I'm like,
I think what was I listening to that said just stop online dating? Because it is, I mean, I know there are some success stories, and clearly we had at least one with the Addisons and here on the Xrossroadz, but for the most part, it just like
it's a shit show.
It just seems like a time suck, and you get your hopes up, but you know what's there already, and it's like you're hoping against hope that it's something else. So, I mean, I feel like unless you just don't have anything else to do. I mean, you know, you want to give it a whirl, but otherwise, like,
I got other shit to do with my time. You
it's
are
just like it's just
look. You like imagine what you know about me, and I'm talking to these folks or linking up, and I'm like,
that is so crazy.
you know, I mean, it's a couple of cool ones. Like, it's hard when like you meet somebody and you think like, this probably not gonna be a dating situation, but you're a cool person and I'd love to be friends and like hang out.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a tough sell, especially when you if you start dating someone else and they're around, because then this is like, well, why not me? You know,
This
and
sounds like what we're about to talk about today.
doesn't it though? So y'all, today, should I give him the topic now, or do we want to do the segment first?
Let's do the segment first. Keep
All right.
them waiting.
Right. But before we even do the segment, as always, today's episode is brought to you by the House of 334.
It's the house.
You notice how I waited for the jingle this time, right? I was like, let her get it. I got cussed out last week because I didn't let her get the tagline in.
Yeah,
but please visit thehouseof334.com. Oh, actually, it's houseof334.com for all of your copyright branding and business needs. It is Black owned. It is Black woman owned. So you want to support our Black fempreneurs of the world. And also brought to you by Carbon 12 Clothing. That's CRBNTWLV.com. Carbon 12 without the vowels, for those of you who didn't catch that. Lots of great styles and increase your swag over there at carbon12.com. So now that the bills are paid, it's time to slide into the fuck.
The fuck?
I hope I can keep it at 60 seconds this week.
Man, I'm unsure.
I gotta show people my shirt too, because I keep seeing that assistant part. I'm an assistant, but it's I talk about work a lot, but for those who don't know what I do for a living, when I get up and when I'm not podcasting, I am
right.
Yeah,
helping the children.
Yeah, I think it was a couple of posts that said, explain what you do for a living, horribly explain what you do for a living.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I said, threaten children and turn their parents against them.
Hilarious.
That's literally what I do.
Well, God bless.
Yeah, I know.
God bless the children.
Did you ever imagine me being a principal?
No.
My daddy.
I mean, like, yeah, no. I mean, once on the educational journey, I can see it now, but I no. Like, nope.
Yeah, my daddy didn't think so too. So what we got this week for the fuck?
All right. Well, we have a meme that says,
oh, these are always fun.
Right? Dating is cheap when you deal with women who actually like you. Now, somebody, it might not be us, but somebody might say, the fuck?
That doesn't make me say the fuck.
Yeah,
though.
See, look at you. See, it might not be you. So to someone who would say that, what would be your response?
My response is, I think they don't get it. Because I really think that, and correct me on this, because I'm going to speak for women when I say this. I think that women truly believe that, or a lot of women believe that the value of a man is what he's able to do for her, and when he's doing these things and spending a lot of money, it's an indication of the measure of his interest and or feelings for him. But for her, I'm sorry. But I've been with women and hung out, and because it's about us and how much, what we feel about each other and everything else, we didn't have to do all of that. It was more about like the together time, and it was like, hey, let's go get a burger, or like one in particular, our routine, because we lived close by, our routine is what we're gonna eat, and we had certain spots that we would go to that was in the vicinity, and we just picked one and we hung out and we watched, much like me and you did back in the day when I was on 88th. You know what I mean? Like, we gonna cook something, or we gonna pick something up, and we gonna watch movies. You know what I mean? And so now add that friendship component, like what we had, to somebody who you have feelings for, or you know what I mean? And it's easy, and it's not about like, oh, being broke versus, it's like, hey, I value the time I spend with you. I value the conversations that we're having. I value this interaction versus, okay, what you gonna spend money on me for? You know what I mean? And yeah, every now and then, like, cool, but it doesn't mean because I'm not spending money on you that I don't feel anything for you. And the more I spend, the deeper my feelings. Because what about a cat that has long dough and spending money is nothing?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, I'm gonna make her feel good. I'm gonna spend these couple of thousands. Like, for example, I think there was a story that about Shaq, and some chick was talking about, oh, he spent like, some thousands or whatever, and it was his per diem for the road game. Like, they get a per diem. He was like, here, what I'm saying, a couple of grand to eat with and kick it when they go to different cities that they get from the team. That wasn't his salary. That wasn't his game check. That wasn't his bit. That was money that was, I'm gonna throw away anyway. Like, they literally give this to me to throw away, and I threw it away on a chick that I probably don't even remember her name.
Don't see. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I think I agree with that. Not think I agree because I've lived that.
Okay. Well, that was actually 3 minutes.
Oh.
But that was still
it wasn't 10.
I was say it was still good. It was still good. I love it. Oh gosh.
For those who don't know, I'm supposed to kick you. It's supposed to be 60-second in response.
It's supposed to be 60. It was actually 180. But still really good. Still really good. So I think I understand the spirit in which this was written, right? When I saw it, I thought, yeah, I really like a guy, or thinking about, my fiance, I'm always trying to save him money, right? Like, no, we don't need to do that. No, I don't need that. No, you don't need that. So I thought in that regard, like, oh yeah, things are probably cheaper because you're with someone who is thinking about the totality of you, and not, like you said, just about their experience or what you can do for them. But dating is probably never cheap, depending on where you live, right? So it could potentially be, maybe you don't feel a whole lot about spending, because you're in a position like Shaq, or maybe not Shaq, but you have, enough money to do it. But, I don't know about the whole cheap. I'm thinking cheap, in regards to, I'm not putting a whole lot of weight on spending this money because I know she appreciates it. I know she really likes me. I was thinking of it in that regard. So I agree with you, somewhat agree with what was said, but overall, we just, both sides, we need to come to the table with wanting to know and be with the person that we're with, and not, what can you do for me? That's absolutely.
Yeah. And the craziest part is, as I've grown professionally, the more money that I've grown to make, the less that I spend in dating. One, because I date less, but two, when I do, I don't, I make a comfortable living. And I think when women know that, it's like, I guess it's not a test. I don't necessarily.
They want you to prove it. Maybe that's what it is.
I
don't know what you have by what.
I've only had one woman out here test my pockets, and we don't hang out anymore.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, so who won? Your pockets?
Yeah, my pockets won.
Or did she win?
Nah, my pockets won. They stayed full.
Okay, well then there you go.
I'll tell you about that one off the air. Like,
okay, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the story.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today?
Oh, today we are talking about, what do you do when you fall in love with your best friend?
Oh.
And for the record, we're not talking about us. for y'all. It was like because I know people's like, wait, ain't y'all best friend?
Right? Is this about y'all?
No, it's not about us.
No, it's not
I
about
do
us.
love Dre,
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
yeah, but we're not in love. She is.
In love.
Yeah, she is happily in love and engaged with hashtag Boo.
Hey,
Ready,
boo.
bride loading.
Bride loading. Yes.
Yeah,
Getting ready to pick out them tuxes next week. So it's
he
all
gonna
in
get
pop.
like a doo brown color just because
No.
he's that defiant. Just to do something like he'll get like a pink blazer with green pants or
Not
some
that
yellow
combination.
shoes. Oh,
Just
Freudian slip. Oh,
yeah, he might do some things, but he wouldn't do
but he ain't
that.
gonna.
Mm-mm.
But what do you do? So we posted a post in our Facebook community and our individual pages, and just
Yeah.
asked the question like, what would you do? Like, no, we asked, have you
Have
ever
you
been in
ever?
love? Have you ever been in
Mhm.
love with your friend, your best friend, or a close friend, and they were unaware? And like we asked, why didn't you say anything? And we're like, what are the effects? And we got some very interesting responses. We had a lot of people that didn't want to share publicly, so they sent some messages to the DMs, some stories. I think I got about like 3 good stories in the DMs uh, to unpack. So, like, first, have you ever been in that position?
Well,
Like on
I think
either
I've
side?
said this. I think I've said this before. Like, I don't date strangers. So
Mhm.
I would have to say yes. I have liked or have feelings for quite a few friends because
Mhm.
that's the circle,
Right.
that I pull from. Or maybe even if they're not like a close friend, somebody that's, in close
Mhm.
proximity. So, um, yes. And I have had feelings where I did express, and then I've had times where I have withheld.
Mhm.
And I think, and we're going to hear some stories, that say both. But for me, sharing is having the friendship or relationship where you feel like it's safe enough to do so, whether or
Mhm.
not you feel like it's gonna go forward. Like I think, depending on the friendship, you're like, okay, I tell you everything else, right? Like
Mhm.
it's like if we talk about everything else, I should be able to tell you this
Mhm.
regardless. But of course, there's always that chance that it could change things. And I think
Mhm.
in the instances where I chose not to say something, it would have been around, okay, this might change the dynamic. And most of the times that I could think about that is like, yeah, if they're dating other people, or if they're just not in the settle down space.
Mhm.
Particularly if they're dating somebody, it's just like, why would you do that to your friend? Right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
now he's like,
And
okay.
did you read that story on my page where somebody did that?
Yeah. I was just like, I don't know what you hope to achieve from that. And what is he supposed to do?
Right.
Because, oh God, I guess we could go real deep. Like, what if that helps him to realize that he has feelings for you too? Like, or maybe
Mhm.
he had feelings, but he just moved on because he didn't think that there would be a thing. And then now
Mhm.
you're like, surprise, I always liked you. And now, what is it, like brown sugar? Y'all
That's
see
like
brown
every
sugar, right?
rom-com ever.
Oh, God. Yeah. It's just, it starts a
I
whole lot.
do love you.
Right. So yeah, in those instances, keep it to yourself. Write it down and
Mhm.
burn the letter. I don't, just don't
So,
involve anybody else.
right. I'm wondering, like, does it only change things when it's not mutual? You know what I mean?
Well, it's gonna change things if it is mutual, right? Because then you move
Oh yeah.
into
Well, I mean,
a
but
different space.
if you decide, but you might decide like, hey, I got feelings for you, but because like, so this is what's weird, or maybe not weird. It's
Could be
like
weird.
could be weird. I don't know, but have you noticed like your best friend when you have a best friend of the opposite sex?
Mhm.
It's like, why are you friends? And are you friends with someone of the opposite sex because they have the qualities that you would otherwise want in a partner in a romantic relationship, or is it distinctly different? You see what I'm saying? Like, because you choose your friendships just like you choose your love interests, and we choose our friends far more carefully than we choose our life partners. And it's more
maybe that's it, right? Yeah. Like, yes, I choose you. I want you in my life regardless, whether I'm good, bad, or ugly, and I'm not willing to risk. Like, yes, it could be greater if we add this component, but it could be worse. And so I'd rather you in my life in this capacity than to, chance it in this other capacity. And especially depending on what stage of life you're in, right? Like if you're in a, stage where everybody's kind of younger, let's just say you're younger and you're more fancy free or whatever the case may be, you might just be like, man, this is, I see the potential in you right down the line, but right now you're gonna mess this up, and I don't even want to hate you, so I'ma just chill.
now it could be this too, like your best friend has the positive qualities that you desire, but you also know where the bodies are buried. And it's like,
then there's that.
I couldn't fuck with you because I know you. I see how you get down.
Yeah. So last night is so funny. Case in point. So I was cooking. I was just like, oh no, whatever. Oh, let me call Barzini. Let's see what's going on. So I rang the phone. He hit me with the hello. And I'm like, oh shoot, you sleep?
You thought I was doing the thing.
And he was like, yeah, I'm asleep. So #boo, we end up wrapping up the call because I'm like, I don't want to. As soon as I hung up, I was like, I wonder if that nigga hit me with the or he was really asleep. And #boo's like, what? I'm like, no, I've lived this before. I don't know. I was like, no, I'm gonna choose to believe he was really asleep.
Okay, I was really asleep. Last night. I don't hit you with the voice. So, okay, we got to explain to the people. I think we've talked about this before.
Yes.
But for those who didn't see that episode, and Dre has been watching me do this for years. When I don't want to talk, I have mastered the sleepy voice. It could be 2 PM, and
taking that good nap.
I'm taking a power nap. So I answer the phone and I got my sleepy voice on, and people like, "Oh, you sleep?" Yeah. So she called me last night, and I was actually asleep.
I believe you, but just at that moment, I was like,
yeah. So actually, I was in bed. I had fallen asleep before it was time for me to go to sleep. When you called, I had been up for a few minutes, but I was in the bed. I was trying to go back to sleep, which is why I answered the phone. But yeah,
just say it.
Oh, that shit's funny. I gotta stop telling people I do that too, because it ain't gonna work no more. Like, nah, nigga, wake your ass up. Right. I know that shit. Like, shit.
You really sleep or no?
Or it depends on who this is. Like, oh, and if you call me, I don't know who it is. I'll be like, hello. Who this? Oh, what's up, nigga? and then wake up. Like, nah, I thought you was somebody else. I ain't sleep. What's up?
So yeah, so then there's that, right? Like, these things about your friend, and you're just like, mm-mm. I mean, now that's minor, but I'm just saying you could know something, like know some real stuff, and go like, yeah, that would never work for me. Right. Or there's obviously when there's just not that kind of connection, and I've heard from people like to attractive people, because I think generally people think like, oh, if there's not a love connection between best friends, somebody has to be ugly. Like, that's not necessarily the case. It could, attractive people and people that are could be attracted to each other in any other kind of time and space, that are just like, that's the homie. Like, that's just, kind of all it is. But there are some people who have crossed the line. They have crossed the line. I actually had someone that responded, one of our faithful listeners, who said, yeah, I fall in love with my best friend and now we're married. And I'm like,
And then there's that.
and there you go. So sometimes it works and you can take it all the way. Sometimes, people give it a shot and it changes things for the worse. And then there are, folks that are kind of in the limbo, like, should I say something? Should I not? What is this going to do? So, what about you? Have you experienced this, or what do you think about kind of this situation overall?
I have a couple occasions. There's been times where I haven't said anything. And then there's times like, I think I've told you about the most recent situation. It's long distance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I need a little
right. But it wasn't necessarily reciprocated in that fashion. You know what I mean? Like, she tells me she loves me. But like, I don't, it's almost like you don't know how,
how somebody loves you.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I love
And
you.
so like there's
Is
a
it like,
situation.
love you? Or is it like, I love you?
No, she says I love you. Or I love you too, But I know how to compartmentalize and leave things where they are, because I'm also like, this isn't the only person like this. It was just not time or not space. So there's a couple situations that were long distance. Like, there was two women that I really, really liked. But just the distance, like when I moved out here, and I'm kind of like, well, why shit gotta like semi pop off when I'm out here all of a sudden? And when I was there, it would, so there's just a whole lot of factors that go into certain things. But I'm just always reminded of a conversation between my father and I, because I'm not someone who believes in soulmates in the sense that there's one person specifically meant for you, because I think it negates free will, right? Because what if that person, like, you meet this person and this person is perfect for you and everyone's like, oh, you're a soulmate, this is the person you're supposed to be with, and then you fuck up, you know what I mean? So does that mean the other person who was done wrong all of a sudden doesn't get to be happy in their life because the person who they were supposed to be with messed it up? Or they have to deal with it because, oh, this is my person, so it doesn't matter what they do, I have to stay here because this is my one shot. And so my father was talking about like one of my brother's past relationships, and he was like, that was his shot at happiness. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, and this was before he met and got married and stuff like that. But he was washing his car. And it was the same. You remember my white car? You remember, I named her Gigi. You remember Gigi, the car. And so my dad had a car just like it, but in a different color, right? And so he's washing his car. And he was like, you see, son, love is like this car. Every part of it is meant to work together with another part in order for it to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
be the car
whole,
and do
be the
thing.
car.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, Pop, because, the car company, in an effort to make a profit, they made more than one of the exact same car. And guess what else they did? They made them in different colors too. And so
he wanted to slam you on the car.
Oh no, his default, when I one up my pops, he just always says, fuck you.
Same thing. Okay.
Yeah, basically. So he hit me with the fuck you, and I was like, and so that's my thing. So it's like, we all have choices and we all make decisions in life, and then there's consequences for that decision. So you might have a person that is perfect for you, and if you mess it up, that person is going to go on and be happy and with someone else that takes care of that thing. And so Yeah, that's why I don't think in the conventional sense of a soulmate as there's only one person. I believe in a soulmates like, hey, if there's this type of person that fits you, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we also make decisions, and we get with and marry the wrong person.
All the
Like
time.
how many people have done that?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so when you do that, it's like, do you live with that choice? Or let's say, hey, you're married and the marriage doesn't work out for whatever reason. Now, do you have to live the rest of your life? Not, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's just, so I've been in those situations. I've had, women that like me and were friends, and I didn't necessarily feel the same way. Or there's one that I've had feelings at one point and they didn't, and then I moved on, and then they had feelings at another point, and I was like, I have that situation right now. Like, we're still friends, but I've made it clear that I've moved on in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm no longer in that space.
Now,
Um,
is it petty moved on? Like just
no,
because
it's
you weren't there, or you just literally don't feel anything?
no, I
Oh.
moved on. I'm not like, oh, I'm not going. I mean, there's a part of me that would be like, I wouldn't do it if I was being paid. I wouldn't do it anyway, because like, you ain't finna play me now.
Yeah,
I
I was
mean,
just
I think
wondering.
I'm a little bit more mature than that. If I still felt something, I probably would, but I don't feel that. I
Mm-hmm.
still care for her greatly. And we're friends, but that's I'm not there, and
Okay.
so there was. I mean, she called me and told me she was in love with me, and um, I didn't quite know
That's
how to
a
respond.
hard. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a hard admission, especially when you do not know how that's going to
right,
go. And I've
right.
been on both sides. I
Hmm.
have received that from somebody
Hmm.
who I felt like, oh gosh, at the time I was just like, I really wish that I felt something, because he was like such a good guy. We were very,
Hmm.
very young, and it was like such a good guy, and you know, all of the things. And I was just like, it would be, all I knew is it would be wrong to, go along with. But I was so sad that I was just like, I don't want to hurt his feelings.
Hmm.
And now we were in a situation where we were going to be kind of going different ways anyway. But I sometimes I wonder, like, was that the reason why, we didn't stay as close, right?
Hmm.
Because I have friends, where we parted ways and we remain close. And then, of course, with, the internet and Facebook and MySpace and all the things that have happened since then, I'm like, well, I've maintained and even grown closer with some people because of this. But in this regard, this is someone who I still know. Now he, is married and has a family and whatnot. Um, but we didn't remain as close, or did we get any closer? And
Hmm.
and I had to be okay with that, because I'm like, yeah, well, if you really genuinely have feelings and I didn't return them, maybe it wasn't as comfortable to
Hmm.
to be in that kind of space. So I had to respect that. And then definitely being on the other side of that, I could understand, but I didn't punish it's like, okay, if you don't feel it, then and maybe I shouldn't frame it as punishing, but that's the best way I could think of it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, now we can't be friends because
Hmm.
I can't explore this
Did
in a
you
different
did you
manner.
find yourself walking on eggshells, like for those situations to where the feelings weren't reciprocal? Were you walking on eggshells with kind of like what you said or what you did, or like maybe some things that you posted or anything else, or did you just live your life and that's just they had
I
to
live
kind of
my
deal with that?
life.
Hmm.
Yeah, I live my life, but I did have to be very honest with myself about whether I could still exist as a friend, right?
Hmm.
Like, are these feelings, going to make you act out of character? Because I think we saw some, I don't know if it was on my side or your side, but someone posted, like, after expressing how she felt, then I think the person
Oh,
somehow
was acting
switched it up.
shady. Yeah, that was on my
Yeah,
side.
Okay, yeah. And so I was, I had to make sure that I wouldn't be that type of person, right? Or if he's, dating somebody or starts dating somebody, am I still going to be the type of friend that's like, yeah, I mean, you can talk to me about anything. I don't want you to be, if we've already been like that, right? Like, oh, I can't talk about, this date I just had. So I had to make sure, if for any situation where I wasn't able to do that, then I needed to, kind of back up or, make my exit. But if I'm going to be there, then I'm going to be there. So, and then vice versa. Yeah. If I'm living my life at that point, I really didn't feel a need to walk on eggshells. If I told you how I feel and you like, nah, I'm good, then you about to get whatever's coming in.
Right. I think I used to do that with exes sometimes. Like, man, let me not post this because such and such. Look, now I'm like, it is what it is,
and that probably is more so for you guys than for us, because guys don't do, like, I don't know any guys gonna call. Well, I'm gonna say that very few guys will probably call or post or whatever or text like, oh, you posting that, nigga. Like, dudes don't really do that. They do, but not far and wide. Yeah, but women will hop quickly in your DMs or on your who that if they don't act a fool in the comments.
But that's why I don't talk to my ex now. Yeah, I'm like, bro,
in the comments,
bro. Like, I'm getting screenshotted pictures to me, like, oh, this what we doing? Like, for real? Was this going on when we was together? We ain't been together in over a year. What are you talking about? Because it was like in a picture with somebody that was in a Facebook group with us.
Lord have mercy.
It was a lot. I was just like, bro, like, can you just be normal? I don't want to fight. Like, and it's just, some people just comfortable when it's a fight. But I think the hard part for me is like somebody who you do have chemistry with. And the barrier is not reciprocal feelings, but circumstance or timing or distance, or, you know what I mean? That's a tough sell. Like, I think I venture to say it's harder when the feelings are mutual and you can't do anything about it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Mutual, that's all she wrote. But if it is, and there's other things, then yeah, that can be pretty tough.
Right.
That can be pretty tough.
And it also begs this question. Okay, let's say this. Let's say one expresses there's mutual interest and you give it a shot and it doesn't work out. Can you go back to the friendship as it existed before the relationship? And I think that's what's really scary. Is that if it doesn't work, because statistics show the likelihood is that it won't work. Right.
Which I would say, no, it won't work. And then I think, well, what about people that you've dated? Like, they weren't your friends before, you dated them, but they might be your friends now, right? Going back to X's and O's, if you subscribe to that, if you're friends with exes, is it different because you didn't have friendship history prior to be friends after a relationship, or should it be easier because you did have friendship history prior to go back and be
so I only talk to one of my exes on a regular basis. I'm cool with all my exes, with the exception of the one that I don't talk to, just because that's just preservation. Like, there's not beef, but just a preservation of energy for me.
Yeah.
She hasn't proven that she knows how to be my friend. You know, and I don't need to always allude to the relationship, because like with my other ex, we talk about the relationship because the relationship was good. We had like great times and we had like funny times, and even the fights we had now are funny. That's not true with the last ex. Yeah, those weren't funny fights. There's very, like, the majority of the relationship was fighting. That's what I remember. So it's a hard one, and we've known each other for a long time. Like, we went to high school together. So But the other one, who were still great friends, I chased her for a year before.
Yeah.
Listen, and I know, like, people know me now. Like, I don't be chasing. I don't do the pursuit thing. I
Mhm.
chased her for a year.
That's some time invested.
And the crazy part is that when we ended up together, it was like, this is how we became boyfriend and girlfriend. We went out somewhere. It was me, her, and her best friend, and we were meeting up with one of their other friends. And
Mhm.
she introduced me as her boyfriend.
You were like, word? Okay.
No, literally, I didn't look at her. Me and her best friend looked at each other. Like, her best friend looked at me, was like, wait, when did this happen? And I was like, nigga, like, just now, I guess. She was like, word. I was like, word. And then,
Ta-da.
right, and she acted like it was nothing. Like she didn't just say what she just said, and that's how we was together. After all the look,
Sometimes it goes down like
sometimes
that.
it goes on like that, but that's how that happened. But over that year, we became friends. She was like, I want to be friends. Like, okay, so I was forced to be your friend because she wouldn't. But I was like Urkel, like, I'm not giving, and
Mhm.
then finally wore it down. But we did have some tough times after the breakup. There's some things that occurred on both our part, and then we kind of grew past that and kind of reconciled that thing, and then we became friends. And so
Mhm.
she's married, just like, that's a whole different story. That's a whole, I ain't gonna put it out there, but she's married with 2 kids, you
Mhm.
know and she's living a great life. So, and I'm happy for her. And I don't think, had we like gotten married back then, I don't think we would have made it, just
Mhm.
because of where we both were, or maybe just because of where I was in my life. I don't know. But I'm glad and I'm grateful that we do have a genuine friendship. Um, but that's also where I come from, though, because my parents have been friends my whole life.
Mhm.
So I have a it was messed up, but I told my dad one time, I was like, I have a healthier perception of divorce than I do marriage.
Mhm.
I've seen divorce work. I've seen breakups work. I'm great with my exes. Um, but that marriage component, seeing it, ugh, that's something different.
Mhm.
But
So, okay, so that's, we dated, we broke up, we're friends, but I'm saying, is it easier because you weren't
I
friends before?
well, we were friends before. Like, during that
Okay,
part where I was
so
chasing her, we were friends. Like, we developed a friendship while
okay.
I was pursuing her. And so I guess it's easy for me to say, because like, once we got through all the residual traces of the feelings and the blame and the bitterness and the hurt of the breakup, and we came back full circle, we were able to revert to, like, the friendship that we developed before, and the friendship that we had when we were together. Like, we were friends in a relationship. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um and yeah, it was fun. You know what I mean? We were just on two different pages. Like, the breakup wasn't like, oh, I hate you. Like, there was a series of things that happened, but it wasn't like this super contentious, like the whole relationship just came to a head. There was just a series of events that occurred when we broke up. Um and even when we broke up, it was actually still salvageable, to be honest. But there was a stubborn part of me, because of what we were going through at the time. She kept trying to break up with me because there were some communication breakdowns that we had, and she thought we were on two different pages. um and so, because she had disconnected based on something that I said, that I didn't mean the way she took it. So, in context, we were in bed one day, and I was just trying to find myself and trying to find myself in life and what I need to be doing, right? And so, this is when I was doing the music thing and stuff like that, and I was telling her, like, look, we're gonna be spending less time together because I gotta grind way more. I gotta be doing my thing. Like, you on cruise control on what you want to do with your life, and, like, we got you there. Like, we work together. We got you in this place where you on what you want to do. And I told her, I was like, you wake up every day knowing exactly what you need to do to get where you got to go, and I wake up every morning having to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need to get on my path so I can get good. So if we gonna have a life together, like we both solid, and I'm not solid right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so that didn't sit well with her, because that started a lot of fights. Like, oh, hey, are you coming over? Are you doing this? Like some of the stuff that I was doing normally changed, because I'm like, I'm trying to focus on career.
Right.
She's focusing on school, and I should have been doing some other stuff in school as well. But we're in bed one night, and she asked me, she was like, what are we doing? Like the what are we doing question. What are we doing? Like, where are we going? And I said, I can't even see tomorrow right now. Right now, what I meant when I said that was, I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. I can't even see tomorrow right now because I'm so sleepy. That's what I meant when I said that. What she heard is, I don't even see tomorrow, like with you.
With you, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I perfectly see how she can get that because of the words that I said.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't think either. Could I have said that differently? Sure, but I wasn't thinking she was going to take it like that. So there was neither, in my eyes, neither of us were wrong. We were completely justified in what we said, what we heard. But you, like, thinking back, you see how that goes two different directions.
Right.
And so when she heard that, that was it for her.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like she just completely changed. So 7 years went to, from that was like August of 2005, and by December we were broken up. Because it was like some conversations was like, oh, I want to break up, and I was like, no, we're not breaking up. Yeah, but I told, because she said it so many times, I was just like, no. But then I told her, I was like, you know what? The next time you call me with that breakup shit, we're gonna be broken up. And she did, and I was like, okay, we broke up then. And I remember she said one time, I just thought we was always gonna get back together. And I was like, no, I'm not your puppet, and you don't get to manipulate me. And that was that petty part. And that's why I said it was salvageable. Like, if I wasn't like on the pride part in proving her wrong, like, you don't get to just say when we break up and get back together, and just have some effective communication. But we were young,
Mm-hmm.
And who's to say, even if we did reconcile, that it would have worked. But we kind of worked through that, and a lot of stuff that happened after that, to where now we have a dope friendship.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I know entering into this relationship, that was one of my biggest concerns, was not necessarily what if this doesn't, well, yeah, I guess it's all together. What if this doesn't work? But, we were friends, and not just like, oh, me and him are friends. I'm in the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm friends with your brothers. Like, it's a whole different, kind of situation. And I've told him this before. Like, I really, I don't want to say he didn't matter, because that's the worst thing to say. But at the time, me and his brother were like this. And that's who mattered most. I was like, I can't get into a situation where I do something to hurt you, and then your brother's pissed at me, or our friendship is a mess, right? Like, we haven't solidified anything yet. So now, now of course he's number one. But at the time it was like, is this something that I want to do? Am I in the place to do it right? Because, I had gone through so many things. I was just like, I want to make sure that I'm able to even cultivate a healthy relationship based on, the things that I already dealt with. And I was really afraid, like, I don't want to mess this up. I already knew he was a good guy. Like, I was just like, this is, if this works, it's going to work. And so I thought, if it doesn't, it's probably going to be me. And yeah.
Or a bobby pin.
Well, no, at the time yeah, could have been that. But yeah, what does this do to our friendship? And then, like, the long-standing friendship that I have within his family. And so that was like, that was a lot for me. I kind of double dutch, okay, am I jumping in for a little while because of that? And I can see why some people, if they are presented with the opportunity to date a friend or, your best friend, because you're thinking like, this is a person that's at the head of the line, right? Not that you'll never have friends again, but there are some people that you connect to just a little more closely, a little more deeply, whether it's a time situation, like they've been with you over the course of your life, have experienced things with you, and the thought of not having that person or being able to call them, or that things would be weird. It's just like, is this worth it? It's that gamble that we talked about. Like, if I roll these dice.
Right. And who the hell I'm going to call and talk to about you?
Well, then there's that.
So me and Aisha had that conversation one time. We were like, because we joked about like, we could never date. Because I was like, because who we going to talk to? It was like, if we dated, we would have to have 2 phones. Like,
well, somebody could call me.
Huh? Yeah, but that happened.
Y'all had to split me.
Right. So, but that happened with her first husband.
Yeah.
They both was calling me, but I was slick. So they found out years later, this is what I was doing. Like, they would both call me when they got in a fight. And all I was doing was telling the other, like, my advice was just what the other one was saying that they needed to me. Like, why don't he just, and I'll be like, bro, why don't you just
That's good. That's really good.
And vice versa. I did that for years.
Shout out to you helping to keep it going, as
I mean, stuff happens. But I told her, it's like, if we dated, we'll be on the phone fighting, and then we're gonna hang up and they have to get on the other phone. We're like, guess what this fool just
right. Right.
But nah, it's like I think there's something that you get with friendships that you don't get in relationships. You know what I mean? Not to like put a value over it, but I think they're both just like really, really necessary because it's just certain dynamics. And it's like I told my ex too, it's like we were having some tough times and she was like, I want to be your best friend. And I was like, you can't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a vacancy for best friend. Like, I got a vacancy for wife. You know what I mean? I don't have one of those. I have a best friend. And because when you come in and you tell me I want to be your best friend, what you're literally saying is you want to erase over 20 years of memories and work and experiences that I've had with my best friend.
Well, I don't think that's what it is. I don't think they want to erase it. I just think.
But how do you feel like you're just going to jump to the front of the line?
That's what it is.
You can't skip the line. You can have back cuts, but you remember.
Right, cut in front of somebody else.
Yeah, you can have back cuts.
I'm like, you literally let them cut me.
Right, yeah.
Back cuts are
ain't no
literally cutting somebody else.
Yeah,
but that's what they don't want to erase. Like, oh, shout out to the 20. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, cool,
but on year 21, I'm here. Yeah, that's what it is. And I mean, yeah, I'm just like, as a woman, I get it, but as a friend, I'm like,
because think about it. We know more about each other than anybody that I would start dating now.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
And she would have to learn those things over time. And some things she might never learn because that might not be you anymore. Or
and things that she'll know and things that she'll learn that you don't know because it's a different dynamic. Yep, and I'm like, and I told her, I was like, you get to wake up with me as many mornings as you choose. Like, I don't wake up with my best friend. I and so these are opportunities. And I was like, you're so focused on trying to be my first that you're forgetting that you have the opportunity to be my last if you take it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
She wants to be first and last. She wants
doesn't
to be
work
alpha
out.
And omega.
Yeah, but you don't get to choose that from me. Like, so, and here's something interesting because it put me in a headspace because this whole come to me healed phenomenon, right? Like people are posting, oh, come healed. And I told this one chick, I was like, you don't get to choose that for somebody. And I said, why? And She's like, oh, you know why, you know why. I was like, but not, are any of us really healed? And how do you determine whether or not he's healed or not? Unless he just says I'm healed. Like if he says it, then do you not take his word for it because you have your own criteria for what healing is? I was like, you don't get to choose that for somebody. And what that's really rooted in is your own insecurity of not experiencing trauma that you haven't healed from him. you see what I'm saying? And so we just have all these things that we try to control. And so like just with your best friend, I don't know. It's like, can you control that feeling? Especially if it's like if they express it's not mutual, like what do you do that? Where do you pack that? How do you move forward? And I think that's something that maybe we couldn't completely unpack in this hour, but maybe we should kind of explore deeper, and do another discussion on this for next week. And plus we have a live coming up too.
Yeah. And we have so many, stories that have been sent to us, and I would love for us to be able to go through some of those and talk about it. But it just, I think it's emotional maturity, that and a decision, and of course we can get deeper, but just from my experience, it's, and for some people, I think they said it themselves, like the love you have for somebody. If you're really friends, right? It's just like, I'm not going to make your life hell just because you don't feel the way I feel. Does that mean you're not going to be my friend anymore? Are we still going to be friends? Then cool. And quite frankly, I feel like any other response, it's going to sound hard, but any other response is going to make me question what friendship really means to you, right? Like your feelings are valid, right? Because who wants to be disappointed, right? I like this person, they don't like me. Whether they're your friend or not is going to probably be a hard pill to swallow. But if this is your friend who is still saying, I'm still willing to be a friend to you, and you're on some, well, if we can't, if we can't be lovers, then we can't be, so we can't be friends. RL and Deborah Cox, if that's you, then yeah, it's like.
But that's hard though.
It is hard. It is odd. Look,
because I've said it before.
I've sat in the seat, so I understand what it is. I mean, on both sides. But yeah, if it's a friend, and then you're talking about like your best friend or one of your best friends, the question is, these feelings that I have right now that I can say have passed, you can say have passed on your end in the situation, right? Like these feelings will pass. It sucks right now, but the feeling will pass. Is it worth giving up a friendship that you might have had since you were young or since you were, teenagers or young adults or whatever? Is it worth giving up your friendship because you can't move into that next dimension? And then if we get real, real deep with it, what if that's protection? Like I've looked back on some stuff. I'm like, I'm glad I got my feelings hurt because that wouldn't have worked out at all, so.
God always knows better than we do.
Yes, he does. He does. Yeah.
So, y'all, we've only kind of touched the tip of the iceberg.
Just right here.
We did we kind of went in with like the prelims, but we do have stories and accounts that we've received, and we definitely want to get into those. So we're going to do another episode. We're going to jump into a part 2 of this next week, and by the time we get that, there's going to be even more that we've gotten. So
and that'll be the night of our live too. So when part 2 drops, that night we'll be going live.
We'll be going live. This is a fun one. It's like ooh, because you start because when we like we knew what we were going to talk about, but then as we start talking about it, like more stuff starts to come up that you kind of want to unpack. So we're definitely gonna do a part 2. Unfortunately, like this is our time for this week. We know. These hours seem to go by just like really fast because we love this time that we spend with y'all.
Speaking of time,
it's Dre's alarm going off. She's so precise, y'all.
I really didn't mean for that to go off that out loud, but
that's funny.
Yeah. I want y'all to be able to listen. I don't want you to be like, Jesus.
Like she rushing us. Yeah, she rushing us out the door.
No.
Like that, when black folks how they leave in stages. Well, I'm gonna let you go.
I'm gonna let you go. And then, or your preachers, I won't be before you long.
Right. And 3 hours later.
Yeah.
But to that end, y'all, this has been another episode of The Crossroads, parting of such sweet sour. But until next time, always remember, be free, to be you. See y'all next week.
We want to thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and register for our email list for more episodes and projects from your hosts, Barzini and Dre Renee. Until next time, this has been the Xrossroadz Podcast. And remember, be free to be you.